Well, for me, getting back into the routine has been the juggle. I was hoping to have some wonderful words of wisdom because today the talk is the excellence of wisdom. But as I sat down early in the week to put the talk together, one thing after another kept getting in the way. So eventually I made some notes, and as the days went on, I thought, well, good. I've got enough here to get through, but I think I would love another day. Well, it never happened. I was invited to a wedding yesterday, and it was at Red Hill. And I don't know if any of you have ever driven up Red Hill. Arthur's Seat, it's a nightmare. The Grand Corniche in Monaco would seem easier. And the view was stunning. And it was very tempting to look over the cliff as you drive. Anyway, I managed to get out of the wedding at 6 o'clock. And Hamish, my dear friend, who's helped me and a few of you here with the technology, said, "Aren't you staying for the recovery party?" Oh, and I saw the band come in. It was pretty heavy duty, I must say. But I said, "No, thank you. I'll just quietly sit over here with the oldies for a while, and then I'll leave it." So here we are. I've managed to put something together. The powerful March is wisdom and judgment. It used to be just judgment in the old Gypsy books, but they've now put judgment/wisdom or the other way around. And Ursula, the colour is yellow. Have you got anything yellow on today? You haven't. I've loved some of your backdrops for your Zooms. So we'll see if we can get back into the routine of getting. Look at Reverend Sylvia. There we go. She's made up for it. Thank you, Sylvia. Well done. Okay. Now, it's represented by James, the son of Zebedee. We all know who he is, don't we? Anyway, James means supplanter, which means to take the place of something and replace it. And the position of the body is that old friend of ours, the solar plexus. It's here where the subconscious part of our mind connects with the physical body, and it lets us know, doesn't it, when it's not happy. The colour of the sun is brilliant for the solar plexus. I think that's the chakra colour too, if you go into that sort of thing. And also we hear of Pharaoh. He represented judgment and all that to the solar plexus when Moses was trying to get out of the promised land. And Pharaoh said, "I will not let you go." And how many times have we had a feeling in here that we've wanted to get out and it won't go? My goodness, it takes some work. You have to really jump up and down sometimes and say, "Get out." In the old days, we'd say, "Get behind me, Satan." We try to update the language a little bit. It's hard for old-timers like me, but I'm getting there. Now, the dictionary says wisdom is the ability to make considered decisions or come to sensible conclusions. Haven't we all heard the phrases such as passing judgment, or reserved judgment, or sitting judgment? And it's so subtle. At the wedding yesterday, there was a lady there with this hat, and I was talking to a couple of people, and I thought, "Oh, what a terrible hat." I thought, "Did I speak that?" And what made me worry was the bloke beside me told her that he thought it was wonderful. Well, I didn't actually believe it. But we sit in judgment, don't we? Ancient wisdom, which is a favourite topic of mine, says, when we judge ourselves and our neighbours, our judgment must be fair, not based on what we have heard from someone else about that situation or place. John 7:24. Judge not according to appearance, but judge righteous judgment, which is wisdom. Now, the 12 powers all work together. We all know what they are. And for judgment and wisdom to be effective, it needs a couple of powers. Some say the main power to add would be the power of love. The agape love, which is unconditional love, not easy. From the book Your Hope and Glory by Elizabeth Sands Turner, it's one of the ones down in our library, which we can't use for a while yet. She says, and I love these words, wisdom may be harsh without love, and love may be foolish without wisdom. We've all had experiences of that, where someone we may have been in love with really wasn't the right person. We went along with it and found out to our own surprise, not really so much surprise because of the intuition in some way, that this person wasn't the one. The other power is the power of understanding. When we come from a balance of head and heart, some call it a single eye, intellect and intuition, we are accessing the good judgment, the wisdom. How often have we used my way, memory of the song? It's been a while. My way instead of thy will be done. And we've made decisions on what we believed in the past. I look at some of the things that I used to believe at and I think, this is terrible. You know, and all of a sudden, I remember my first time, I've told you this before, but it was at Sunday school at Easter, and the minister was telling us all what we did to Jesus on the cross. It was all because of us, and came out very, very drunk. But then I looked out over onto the sea, and something happened, and I said, that isn't so. It ain't necessarily so. And as I got more and more into music, I used to love how songs can cheer us up and give us wisdom. Can't they, Beverly?
They can. You want a couple of songs?
Would you? Yes. What would you suggest?
Well, there are a couple of pop songs, interestingly.
Yes.
Things in Life Are Free come to mind. Maybe Friends and Neighbours. And a couple of great gospels.
Yes.
God Bless the Child. And the terrific one, Don't Stop.
No, might have to sing it to us. What was the song coming up? I'm sure the next few words. Okay. All right. Well, so there we go. There's some of these songs, and even the song, it ain't necessarily so. And there's plenty more if we start thinking about it. So where does this new awareness, this new belief supplant the older belief? Where's it coming from? Well, it's already in us. It's in our body. Our body is the temple of the living spirit. We are infinite intelligence manifesting as an individualized expression of one presence and one power. We're not clones. We can do what we like. Isn't that a great thing to think about? But we take the consequences of what we do. And this one presence and one power is always there. No matter how much we muck it up, there's always the power of grace if we have learned the lesson from it. We can come and go to many churches, temples, Zoom classes, but there comes a time when we go within ourselves. When is that time? Well, it's usually at the time where we can't get any lower. All we have to do is surrender. There's nowhere else to go. As the dear old prodigal son, he spent all his inheritance, finished up in rough circumstances, and there was nowhere else to go, and he said, help, I give up, what do I do? And that inner voice immediately said, come home. So he had to go in and access his inner wisdom, which was already waiting for him by that point in his destiny. There's lots of books and classes and things, but they're great. We've all needed them because it's brought us to a point in time. It's sown seed, it's resonated with us. And this ancient wisdom It's always been available to us. Some call it New Thought. I belong to the International New Thought Alliance, and so does Rev Sylvia. And I go to the States, where I did for a while, and there's all the different New Thought instances. Unity, divine science, science of mind, and some you wouldn't even know about. But they're all there, and it's all part of one movement. And I got a lot out of that because I met quite a few unity ministers. And it's becoming more eclectic because, as we know, unity, as some people say, it's culturally Christian. It's becoming more spiritually eclectic. As some of you know, or some of you may not know, I love to collect old hymn books. Strange hobby. But I've always had a thing about old churches. I'm living in one up in the country, and it's wonderful. It's an old Methodist church. And I've got about 3 or 4 of the old pump organs, which I love. They need a bit of looking after, and I've got all the hymn books from all the faiths. There's even one, Jenny, what was that one you were in? I've even got that book, but I'm waiting for the one that comes out with your composition.
I'll give you one.
See, I've already got something else. And we'll play a tune now, your tune. Okay. Can you remember it? Right, okay. So, of all things, I looked in the Catholic hymn book, and there's a hymn that states, "We are all destined for Christ by eternal decree." Now, how many would have sung that over the last couple of hundreds of years, not understanding what it meant? Destined for Christ by eternal decree. I'm sure they go along and sing it in the Hail Marys and all the other stuff. And that line, I just hope it takes seed. I'm sure it does. That is a wonderful way to look at metaphysically that Christ within us. We are destined for Christ by eternal decree. There's no escape. Now, the Bible contains Proverbs, wisdom, Psalms, Ecclesiastes, especially chapter 3. Now, Lorraine mentioned Ecclesiastes, and it's a beautiful, beautiful book. Here's my Bible. It's King James Version, super giant print. And it's still not big enough. And I remember the first little Bible I got from Sunday school. And I look at it now, I can't read it. But what I'm going to do is, because we've got some numerologists here, or one in particular, chapter 3. Does anyone know the first verse? To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. Would someone pick a number between 2 and 20? One more time. 5. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. Wow. And another one? 18. 18. 18. Look at me up here. Okay, 17, 18. I said in my heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that God might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts. I better read the next one. Thank you. Number 19, for that which before the sons of men before beasts. Even one thing before them, as one dieth, so another. Yet they all have one breath, so that a man hath no preeminence above a beast, for all is vanity. And I've heard that one before, all is vanity. Now I think we better get one that's a bit more uplifting. I'm going to take another chance. 16, thank you, Robin. Whoa, dear. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. And it is around us. We have to be awakened to it. We have to pretend these things don't happen. But when it does happen, we have to keep the high watch, like some of the stuff we've been going through over the last year. The way they put the headlines in the news is just pretty weird. So we have to keep uplifting the consciousness of the planet. I don't think I'm doing it well. Now we've got the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, and this beautiful Sufi poems. It's all the same wisdom dressed up in the culture of the time. The book. We have this at school. It's called the Youth Sing Book, and in it there's a song called The Vicar of Bray. And I think this is a great one for wisdom. The dear old vicar, he was in the middle of lots of politics, but he knew how to manoeuvre around the different rules and regulations. Now, King Henry VIII banned the Catholic Church. So all the priests, they had to find somewhere else to move. But the Vicar of Bray, he put all his stuff in the basement and he hid it. Then we get a Protestant. So out come the vestments and rituals again. Then we had another Catholic monarch. Down into the basement went all the vestments and the cups and the communion stuff, and this went on. And the Vicar of Bray, I'm just trying to, this is 156, I should have this ready, but anyway, here, there's a little verse in it. And this is the law I'll maintain until my dying day, sir, that whatever king may reign, I'll be the Vicar of Bray, sir. And I don't recall singing this one at school, but I did actually find out a little bit later. It's amazing how the language has changed in these songs, the way we refer to different things. We couldn't do it now. We've all changed. I may need this one. Now, there's a new generation of writers who, we've got what we call the new speak. They're tired of the old speak. Sometimes we don't need those old books. We're here, we are now. And some of the beautiful literature that's been out over the last 30 years, some wonderful people like Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, Eckhart Tolle, and there's a plethora of books that we've got. In 2013, I wrote a talk and I presented it here called Wisdom for the Journey. Now, what that was based on was when I go travelling, I like to go to the bookshop at the airport and see what new self-help type books they have. And in 2013, these were the top self-help spiritual books. The Shrink and the Sage. Interesting stuff. Shift Happens. The Man Diet, in brackets, join a woman on the quest for a man. I dare not pick that one up because it's sort of and the Secret Letters of the Monk Who Sold His Ferrari.
Shift Happens is Robert Holden. That's a really good book.
Thank you, Wendy. Yeah. Good. Have you got it?
Yes.
Little review sometime, perhaps.
Sure.
Okay. You can't think of anything in particular.
No.
Right.
I just know I saw him in Melbourne at a hay house thing. He was really cute.
Yeah.
So yeah, I listened.
But that's what I'm saying. These books stirred us up, didn't they?
Yeah.
We didn't have anything else. We had the old stuff, like that tome there in the super giant print. But these are the things which have influenced generations, the last few. And there was one other book I did get, which was The Fifth Agreement, Finding Well or someone or other. And I thought, why will I get this? Because in 2010, 3 years before, I bought the 4 agreements. Anyone familiar with that?
We did that in
That's right. Brilliant. And then here we go. A few years later, there is on the shelf the 5th agreement. How cheeky. I had to buy it. And I've got that, but nothing we don't already know. Now it's 2021, and some of the books that are out, some will be reviewed. Diane's not here, but she's been doing a good job reviewing the Unity magazine. And one book in the Unity magazine was Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. I couldn't help myself, I had to get that. And the other one was by Melbourne author Rhonda Byrne. She was a producer at Channel 9. And remember her book, The Secret. So, lo and behold, she's kept the best till last, or is there more to come? Her latest book is called The Greatest Secret. I've read the book, and I'm glad I've got them because I do like to keep up with these sort of things. They resonate, because we're all going to have. Now, from the times we've been going through, in Unity magazine, there's a chap called Rev Thomas W. Shepherd. He doesn't hold any bars, it just gets straight into it. And someone wrote into him, Dear Dr. Tom, here's how he used it. Dear Dr. Tom, a local minister held services during the corona pandemic. Oops. He said his church would continue meeting until the rapture. While I don't share his beliefs about end times, doesn't he have a point? From a Unity perspective, shouldn't higher consciousness alone protect us from this disease? Well, dear reader, absolutely not. There's a difference between high consciousness and acting the fool when expecting God to rescue us. The prophets and the wise men of humanity have long affirmed the value of faith and action together. And haven't we seen it here as we've come back into the sanctuary? Are you applauding the right? Good. Isn't that great? Yeah. And he goes on, the 8th century Sufi scholar told a story about Muhammad witnessing a Bedouin leaving his camel untethered. The prophet asked the tribesman why he'd done that. And the man said he placed his trust in Allah. Muhammad replied, trust in Allah, but tie your camel. So the lesson from this hadith tradition suggests believers should use all resources while trusting God in every circumstances. The Quran says, Allah will not change the condition of the people until they change what is in themselves. I got a lot out of that because, sometimes you wonder, we've got friends that, I know some people won't take medication and, you think, for goodness sakes, doctors, we're all expressions of God in action. That's their talent. That's someone else's talent. We're all one, all individualized expressions of this one presence and one power. Now, I know time is going on, but I'll repeat that story for the next one. So I think you might also want to know, how do we call forth that inner wisdom? Those of you who've been coming here know we have periods of reflection and meditation. We do journaling. One of my favourites is called the Zazen meditation, which is just sitting. Not an easy one, I might have mentioned this before, but you sit on the chair as you are, or if you don't get it, we're not going to do one. But if you want to, sometime to try it out, you can sit cross-legged, back straight, and you just sit. And isn't it the hardest thing in the world to sit still? If you twitch, there'll be something else happen, there'll be a noise disturb you, but you sit still. And my first real meditation teacher, Gary, taught me this. He could sit for up to an hour. I tried to keep up with him. And I managed to sit there for almost an hour. And he said, all right, get up. And I went to get up, and of course my legs, I couldn't feel them. And he said, it's not your legs, it's your mind. I thought, I don't think so. I can't get up. So he got his cigarette lighter and went to burn it, and I jumped up. That mind, my goodness. Would you like to join me in Zay's class?
No, thanks. Big pass.
You see that in the old country movies where they're all sitting there, and if anyone moves, the head priest whacks them on the back. I don't think we'd do that here. So, okay, look, it's an interesting topic, interesting time. It's so good to see you here. So why don't we just centre ourselves now? I'm going to finish with a short prayer, and then we're going to go straight into a song. So just relax yourself, keep still for a minute. Today we affirm Spirit breathes through me. And knowing this truth, I easily tap into wisdom. The wisdom of Spirit flows through me in each moment of my life as I pause to remind myself of this truth. During moments of fear, the wisdom of Spirit flows through me, and I bring peace to the situation. During moments of confusion, the wisdom of Spirit flows through me, and I am equipped to know what to do. During moments of unknowing, the wisdom of Spirit flows through me, and I take necessary action. So it is.